Hi there, welcome to Wyckoff technical analysis for Cardano. So Cardano, last week we asked the question, has Cardano found support and eventually coming back for bounce? However, this week we see the price action, and it's very interesting that it's actually facing a very critical test. And let's go into both weekly and daily time frame and find out what it is. Here we're looking at the weekly chart, and previously we put in these. I said maybe there's a higher chance it's going to come down for another sign of weakness, while we remain the positivity of it going up to test those key levels, the green and the light blue. Those are the levels at around $1.14 as well as $1.32, but that's not important. That's not the key point we're trying to touch on now in this video. The key focus are these two key levels, the red at 0.73, the orange at 0.79. Why? Because we see this week the price has come down, not only come down, but it's lower than the low point of last week. Currently it's trying to stay at that level, but it has already tested the lower point. In the weekly time frame, in this weekly chart, probably you don't see how close that is. I'll switch to the daily in just a second. Before I check also the Bollinger Band corner squeeze. Currently, even though there's no squeeze, if you're very straight to the point that the purple lines has to be both inside the orange to consider it a squeeze. For me, if they're close enough, I would consider them a squeeze already. Right? Let me tell you, here, if you don't consider this a squeeze, if you wait for the purple lines to both come in, you would have missed this chance, right? So whenever they get close enough, I would consider a squeeze is already happening and expect a bigger move is going to happen anytime. Even though an actual squeeze can last for a few weeks or even longer, it's very important to not to judge too late. Wait until the lines get into the orange before you decide. So right now the purple is still inside the orange. I mean the top. The bottom is getting close enough. So if it's really getting a narrow range trading next week within this white candle level, the top and bottom, then a squeeze will technically follow those even with stricter definitions. So the key point, while this one is coming down to test the levels, a squeeze is going on. So expect some bigger price moves coming anytime now or in the next few weeks. So let's go to the daily. Why I mentioned in the very beginning, it actually tells us it's a very key thing that has happened. First, this upward trend line that started from beginning of this month has been broken through. So the past 4 or 5 days has shown us the price has clearly, even though on the 26th, on Tuesday, the bulls were successful in pushing the price to a level higher than this line, because on Monday it's a very close call that they found support at the purple key level as well as where this line lies. The next day, some positivity. However, immediately on Wednesday, the price has fallen through this support, and for the consecutive 4 days, including right now, it hasn't been able to reclimb to this support. So this has been fallen through, and we don't need this anymore. And right now it's testing another key support, this upward channel box. This is even bigger than the dashed line that I just talked about, because if it falls through this upward trend box, as I explained in many other videos for other coins, this bottom edge, while it acts as a support right now, falling outside of this, meaning it's going to become resistance. And if it happens, there are two resistance immediately. We see the first is this purple line, is I would call the center line of this purple box. This is a horizontal playground zone. I call it a short-term playground zone. That the price has been trading since November last year. The price has only very limited days being traded outside of this purple box. So this center line, you see a lot of bounces or rejections from this line. A lot of those happened. So this, the AR2, this second test, buying climax, sign of strength, automatic rally, sign of weakness. At least 6 occasions this line provided either support or resistance, and we have just fallen through this line. So when the price tried to push up, we see these 2 days they weren't successful getting past through this purple line. Likewise, if the price really falls outside of this light blue box, this upward channel, what happens is, first it has to go through this purple line, second it has to go above this blue line in order to reclaim the channel, the uptrend. But this is not going to be easy, especially when time gets longer. We're getting into this red key level, not red key level, I keep saying red for yellow today, even in the earlier sessions. So the yellow key level is like 0.95, so there will be 3 levels to break through in order to get back to that uptrend. So the likelihood is that if it really falls outside of this upward trend box, it will, even if it goes up, it will develop another trend box, not the same one, because getting back to that is just going to get more difficult along with time. So hopefully it doesn't go outside of this box, and the bulls will be successful in defending this channel and show us another challenge to the yellow and maybe even green, even though it's not something easy, it's not an easy mission. But it's something that the last buying climax back in March has gone to. So combining the weekly, where it may be showing some sign of weakness, trying to come down to a sign of weakness, while we're hoping the 40% chance to happen for the bulls. For the bears, maybe you are in partial celebration mood already because of this week's drop. Whether you are in the bulls team or bears team, don't be too excited, because as of now there's no indication, no clear indication where it's heading. Another indication, if I combine candlestick pattern analysis, if I draw a line here and another line over here, you see some of sort of downward wedge, not very clear. It's kind of close to a descending triangle. So it's pretty subjective in this case, but if I draw a horizontal line, it doesn't touch those candles, so I would prefer a descending wedge. A descending wedge in candlestick pattern analysis, textbook definition, is a bullish sign. So hopefully it's going to get some rebound, but that said, the textbook doesn't tell us how high the bounce would go. But I already shared that's a key resistance level at 0.95, this yellow one over here. It's very far down the line, but it's right there. So first, let's hope it goes above this purple line, intermediate resistance, and then eventually test this resistance key level if you are in the bulls team. For the bears, what you're hoping for is for this to go outside of this channel box, because that signals a very key uptrend that lasted for almost 3 months now is finally coming to an end. So this, if it falls outside of the upward channel, the likelihood of getting towards the sign of weakness is getting higher, but right now it's also above this orange key level. That's why I say the key focus should be this, the 0.79 and 0.73, because when it comes down, those are the two levels that the bulls will defend fiercely in order to stay or like remain, keep the hope of going up. If it comes down for a sign of weakness, the hope of getting to an upthrust after the distribution will get further down the timeline, which may not be favorable unless there are crazily good news coming out, like, I don't know, massive printing of money, interest rates once again heading towards zero or negative. Those kind of big news has to come out, or like some big corps are adopting different projects like Cardano network or whatever you're supporting. So it really depends on this key event that is still right now. So if I zoom in really large, you see this triangle over here, right? By Wednesday, it has to tell us today is already Sunday for me, so Monday for some of you. It's only less than 3 days time, or roughly 3 days time. Even if today's candle is closing above this channel box bottom, in 3 days, this will come. The call will be made by the big guys, whether to go outside of this channel box or shoot above this and go back to challenge the yellow over here. So just wait for a short period and the decision will come. So